Well, that was a load of many things I can't say in the first 10 seconds of a YouTube video because otherwise it won't get out to anyone. But I mean, Jesus. I thought we wouldn't play as well as we normally would tonight against Malta, but I didn't think it would be that bad. I think the best place to start is with the midfield, which I'm sure is how I've titled the video. And if we can't pick up the ball and create opportunities for our attack-minded players against Malta, something is seriously wrong. And for me, this was the final nail in the coffin for Jordan Henderson. I'm not going to throw shade at Trent or Conor Gallagher or anyone else for that matter who tried to come in and help Jordan Henderson create from the back, because that wasn't their responsibility. It was quite clear that we were going to play one player holding in midfield to come in and get the ball and play the ball out to our creative players. That was Jordan Henderson's job. He couldn't do it. Whatever it is he's been doing in the Saudi League, clearly it's affected his overall performances. I've never been the biggest Jordan Henderson fan anyway, but I've always respected the fact that he always put in a decent enough performance for Liverpool and a decent enough performance for England. It was quite clear in the summer, Jurgen Klopp decided he wasn't going to be playing regularly for Liverpool because he didn't think he was up to it anymore. He's gone off to Saudi Arabia. He's enjoying his time. He's enjoying his money. And he should be nowhere near an England shirt ever again after tonight's performance, because that was quite frankly shambolic. And it's no coincidence, in my opinion, that the moment Declan Rice came on the pitch, all of a sudden we were a much better side again, because he actually did that job that he will be doing in the summer. And that is a real worry for me, because it looks like Henderson is going to be the man that Gareth Southgate goes to if Declan Rice isn't available, because he could have played Calvin Phillips tonight and he didn't. And I probably wouldn't have complained if Calvin Phillips was playing, because at least that's what he does when he plays for City, albeit in short bursts. But we know when he plays for England, when he plays for City, he does that job of coming, collecting the ball and setting off attacks. So, yeah, very confusing to see Jordan Henderson still in there. I would have loved to have seen James Ward-Prowse do it. Like I said, I wouldn't have minded it being Calvin Phillips. And obviously we know when it matters, it's going to be Declan Rice. But real concern for me if Declan Rice gets injured, that we're not going to be able to compete in the midfield without that actual class central defensive midfielder in the side. From there, it wasn't much better anywhere else, to be honest with you. Rashford, I thought, was absolutely appalling again. He was outclassed by Joseph Mbong, who plays for Hakam Spartans or whatever it was, quite literally in the Maltese league. He's someone that's never left Malta in his professional career, and he's absolutely outplayed someone who scored 30 goals across the Premier League and the Europa League last season. So I honestly don't know what's wrong with Rashford. I've watched him every single game this season, obviously as a Manchester United and England fan, and his performances on the ball tonight were absolutely shocking. He was looking for free kicks every time he got it. He may have had an argument for obstruction on one of his runs into the box where he could have won a penalty, but the actual law of obstruction doesn't exist anymore. 20, 30 years ago, that would have been an indirect free kick in the penalty area. That doesn't exist anymore, so I don't think Rashford can have any complaints. And what's worse is, once again, he wasn't tracking back defensively, which left an out of position for Kayo Tomori, hung out to dry, where he got booked and for the second time in a row got subbed off at half-time. And I feel so sorry for Kayo Tomori, because he's been asked to do a job he's never done in his professional career. He's only ever played centre-back or right back. He's never played left back for Chelsea, for Derby, or for AC Milan. So Gareth Southgate has chucked him at left back to appease the fans that wanted him to play. He's been hung out to dry by Rashford. He's got booked and he's been axed at half-time again. I feel so sorry for Tomori, because he deserves a lot better than that. But really poor all round from England. I think the only good performances tonight were probably from Phil Foden, and when he actually had the ball at times, Harry Kane, and then obviously Declan Rice once he came on. But to be honest, again, even then, I didn't really see enough of the rest of the play. But as I've spoken about, that comes from the midfield. The only other thing I want to talk about is the actual penalty incident that has split opinions online from what I've seen on social media and from what I saw in the studio at half-time. Firstly, the fact that it's split opinions means that it's not a clear and obvious error. But in my opinion, it is one of the best pieces of refereeing I have seen in a very long while. We have got so used to the standard of refereeing in this country, whereby we are just expecting fouls and penalties for absolutely anything, because we have a bunch of officials that absolutely bottle every big decision. And tonight, this Portuguese referee in his second international game has had a really tough decision to make, and he's got it absolutely spot on. Because Harry Kane has taken that ball around the goalkeeper. He knows it's going out for a goal kick. He sees that the keeper's committed himself. He sticks his left leg all the way out to make sure there's contact with the goalkeeper, and then he flings himself to the floor. That, in my book, is the absolute definition of simulation. He has intentionally tried to win a penalty. That is not how you should be playing football. It sets a terrible example to young people watching, and I'm so pleased that the referee has given that decision. And I wish more referees would wise up to situations like that, because there are so many players across world football that do this all the time, and referees need to stamp it out, because there is too much emphasis on players trying to and getting away with winning free kicks and penalties rather than actually trying to play football. So well done to the referee on that decision. He absolutely got that one right, and I hope we see more decisions like that going forward, but I don't expect we will. And if something like that happens in the Premier League or even in England's game in a few days' time, I expect a penalty to be given. But in my book, absolutely never a penalty. Well done, the referee. From there, all that's really left to say is it's another 3 points for England. They have now all but secured their position as a top 5 finishing group winner, which will put us in pot 1 for the draw, which is absolutely crucial for our long-term prospects going into the Euros. So even though it was a poor performance, at least we've still got the job done. And more importantly, Italy against Ukraine is going to be an absolute cracker on Monday night as they battle out for that second spot in the group. So yeah, mixed emotions about tonight. Very poor performance from England. I expect a lot better. And yeah, it's a little bit of a worry that when you do take the likes of Bellingham and Rice out of that midfield, how poor the performance and the standard of the players actually drops when they're actually taken out of the team. But at the end of the day, as I say, 3 points is 3 points. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I will see you tomorrow morning for my next round of predictions.